So in this video, I wanted to discuss what is evil, because there's a lot of misconceptions about evil. And the truth is, from the highest plane of creation, if you believe that everything is all one and everything is the quantum field, which is what science is telling us, and if you label that as God, you label that as oneness, you label that as Great Spirit, well, technically, everything is one, and everything, therefore, is God and is therefore love, ultimately. So where does evil come from? Well, very simply, evil is a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness, and it only exists in the lower levels of creation. Okay, in the lower dimensions, like the third dimensional reality and in the fourth dimensional reality. That is where evil resides. That is where separation is still dominant and predominant in your experience or in an experience. So it's really important to understand that. So technically, all evil is part of God. It's all part of the oneness. It is something that doesn't actually have the ultimate power unless you say so. Unless you say so. And the lower vibrational thought forms are what perpetuate and make evil a reality in this third dimensional, fourth dimensional place that we have incarnated on and that we're living in right now, okay, planet Earth. So what are the greatest attributes of evil? Well, evil basically is anything that is not of love. Anything that is non-loving is technically evil. And evil ultimately is a weakness. It's a state of consciousness that is fear-based, all right? And that's the reason why it feeds off of fear, because it's actually created by fear. If you look at all the bad things that have happened on this planet, they're always happening because people do not believe that they're taken care of. They do not believe that they're equal. They do not believe that they are inherently protected, all right? And if you think about it, that disconnection from the ultimate truth of oneness, that we're all love, is what has fostered all the bad things that have happened on this planet. It has also entrapped us into the wheel of karma, the wheel of reincarnation, and of thinking and believing that we're less than and that we're not good enough, that we're not deserving. Yet the truth is that because everything is all one at the highest level, it's all one at the lowest level too. It's just that we experience it as not being such. And so therefore, we have believed it. And because what we believe is what is reality, you can see what I'm getting at here. And this is all stuff that science is proving. This is all stuff that has now been determined that it's true. Your thoughts literally create your reality. And certainly your perception of reality, right? Because you can have two people walking down exactly the same street, and one person will see a completely different reality than the other one. And it's just based on what are your filters? What is the lens through which you're looking at your reality? And when you think about the fact that these lenses that we have are not our own lenses, they were introduced to us, then suddenly you start realizing of, OMG, who the heck am I really? Am I really this lowly person? Am I really non-lovable? Am I really a terrible person that deserves to be punished? Am I really incapable? Or have I just been conditioned to believe that through my life circumstances and how I was raised? There's no one to blame for it. It's no one's fault. This is something that has happened over time. But evil is the ultimate expression of separation, of victim consciousness, of fear, of judgment, of hatred. And when you think about that energy, it leads to death, because nothing can sustain itself that is based on non-love. Nothing can sustain itself that's based on non-love. Everything has to crumble eventually under its own darkness, under its own lower vibrational rigidity. And that's what we're seeing is happening in the world, as we're heading into this new age, this new golden age, the age of Aquarius. And as the precession of the equinoxes ends, and this particular cycle and juncture that we have been on is finally coming to an end, and there is a massive leap, a massive evolutionary leap that's taking place for humanity right now, those old ways have to crumble. And so that's what we're witnessing, is the crumbling. And as the vibration of the planet increases, the lower vibrational stuff, that evil, the darkness, has to go. And you know, this interesting point about darkness, it's a bit of a misnomer. It's actually a bit of a joke from a spiritual sense, because the quantum field, the void, right, of consciousness that connects everything, is dark in nature. That's why when you look out into space, it's all black, right? It's not an absence of light in the same way that people have described good as being light. Light has nothing to do with good to a certain degree, because the emptiness of space, the quantum field, is just neutral. It's just consciousness. It just exists. Love, unconditional love, is the expression of that peace, of that oneness. That's what people do not understand. So to fear darkness is ridiculous, because when you go into meditation and close your eyes, you're in darkness. When you actually are able to go really, really deep into the quantum field and connect with the quantum field, you're in a void of nothingness. Your heart is full and you're feeling all this awesome love and connectedness with everything. But if you're truly in the true experience of it, it's just a void of darkness. As a matter of fact, when I have done psychedelics and gone really, really deep with them, same deal. I always go into the black, in the dark void of infinity. Interesting facts. People just don't understand. But we've had to, as humans on this physical planet, where we live in duality and separation, we have to have this light versus dark and all of this sort of stuff. And it's just, it doesn't work that way. It's actually a misnomer. It's completely inaccurate. There's a reason for everything that's happening on this planet. The only way to overcome evil and darkness is through love. That's the only way. Love is the only way. It's not through invoking more light. It's not through all the other different things that might be aspects of love. Then sure, absolutely. But why not just speak it as it is? Why not go to the top and just say, love is the power that heals. Love is the power that transcends. Love is what will pull you through and help you and take you where you need to go and help you realize your full potential and your divinity. But the judgments, the criticisms, believing that you're less than, believing that you don't have the power, that you don't have divine power inside of you, that disability is a crime. That is evil. Those belief systems that have been forced and thrust upon us in some cases, and is fed through the media and through our social media feeds and everywhere, everything is energy. And is it lower vibrational energy or is it higher vibrational energy? That's it. You want to be feeding your consciousness as much as possible with the highest of vibrational energy that you possibly can, so that the lower vibrational stuff, when you get exposed to it, which everyone does on this planet, it'll just bounce off you. It won't even be able to meet and resonate and affect your frequency. That's how you can protect yourself. And that's why I have certain protection processes that I teach as part of my perfect meditation framework. Because we're exposed. You're still in this 3D body. You're still on this physical planet. And regardless, you're still exposed to a lot of different energies. And remember that 90 to 95% of your consciousness you're not even aware of. And it's impacting. And there are decisions being made in your life that you don't have control over, right? Because if your conscious mind was in control, then you would have everything that you could have ever wanted just by thinking about it consciously. But you have all these programs and all these things that are holding you back. And so you need to do protections. You need to be aware of, for a lack of a better word, those darker, lower vibrational energies, right? And it's not to put focus on them. No, you send them love at the end of the day, because that is what will help with that. But you're inherently able to protect yourself because you're one with everything ultimately. So everything that happens to you, good or bad, on some level of your existence, you have allowed that to happen to you. You have created it. You have manifested it into your life. And there's a reason for everything. And that's the beauty of it, that when you're able to start dissecting your life through using the instant breakthrough system, which is one of my courses and programs, which the preface for that is to do my free live reclaiming session, then you're able to connect with your higher self, your superconscious self, and foster that ultimate relationship with yourself and start the process of removing all the non-love and everything that's inside of you that's holding you back from being superhuman, from walking on this planet as we were intended to, as gods on heaven on earth. We can have that. That's what we were supposed to have. And there's so many reasons for the fall and for what happened and all of those things. And some of it is just the way that everything works in cycles. So in some cases, we had no choice. It was meant to be that way. But at the same time, on a higher level, we knew. And we deliberately incarnated into the circumstances and situations we did because we wanted to have a certain experience. We wanted to learn more about the oneness, who we truly are, the power that we have. And besides, it's fun. right? If you think of things from a God perspective, things would be really boring if everything was all just one big infinite blob of love. It'd be boring. There'd be no experiences. You'd just be in this void, and that's it. So creation was made as a way to experience, to gather experiences, to have infinite experiences, and to truly be able to create infinite possibilities. And that's what we're in the midst of. So this whole good and bad and good and evil and all of that sort of stuff is just a load of hoo-ha at the end of the day. It's real because we've made it real, and because a lot of us have bought into the illusion and now act evil with one another and get off on hurting and harming other people because that's how we received love. You see, this is the whole point. When you realize that all crime, which is basically broken down as cry me, crime, cry me. It's a cry for help. It's people that are trapped in the illusion, in their own self-delusion, and who most likely were highly traumatized and highly conditioned and hurt and wounded and traumatized and abused, that eventually turned to doing things that would hurt and harm another human being. So rather than judge and criticize those beings, send them love. Because what if that love facilitates the healing and the awakening that they need to have? You see, this whole thing of when you send non-love out into the universe, you are being evil. You are sending non-love out. You're hurting and harming other people that will receive that energy, or other aspects of creation that will receive that non-loving energy. People are so quick to blame the government and blame the president and blame this person or your boss or your spouse or your partner and all of this. And they send all this non-love to them, but they don't even realize that that non-love feeds the beast. Not only is it harmful to them, right? But not as much as it's harmful to you, because they can protect themselves, they can block it. They might never ever even be aware of you doing that, because they'll already be in whatever state they're in and living whatever life they need to based on their choices and their conditioning and their lifestyle, etc., etc. But you lowering your vibration so that you can send non-love out and complain and kvetch and judge and criticize another human being, that causes disease, that causes pain, that causes suffering. There's no need for it, especially when you understand what I'm telling you, that if you instead sent love, you could cause an awakening. You could cause a healing that will transform that individual and potentially make them change their behavior. And this principle works. There has been scientific research and measurement of what happens when thousands of people come together and pray and send love and prayers to a particular region of the planet, that they are able to literally measure the impact that that has and how it reduces crime, or it helps to mitigate the war, or whatever it is that people are sending prayers to, which is ultimately sending love to. But love has to be unconditional, otherwise it's not love. It's not true love. And humanity places a lot of conditions on the love that they put out there. And that's causing, again, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and it's unnecessary. So, evil is a construct of the mind, of people that are not dealing with, or not able to deal with, not equipped to deal with, because of the conditioning and the programming. It's no one's fault. This is the whole point. It's no one's fault, but it is everyone's responsibility to be aware and to be the most loving human being that you possibly can, and to realize your full divine potential inside, and to use the tools and the techniques and the different processes that I teach and that are out there that foster that, truly foster that. But it has to be unconditional, it has to be real, and you have to be prepared for what happens inside of you when you invoke that love, and the non-love has to come out of you. Because if you don't allow that non-love to come out of you and you try and stop it and don't give expression to the hurt and the pain and the stuff that you've been through, then it's going to get trapped in your body just like it has been, and you're not going to make the progress that you are looking for and wanting. That's the only reason why it feels like life is so difficult. It's because we don't even realize that we have entrapped ourselves, and that most of our energy goes towards suppressing and repressing what's going on inside of us and to avoid it going in. And that's the reason why addiction is so prevalent on this planet right now. That's all the forces of evil, if you want to call it that way. But it's us making choices that are not the highest choices for us, that are self-defeating. And the conditioning that we have makes it very, very difficult in some cases to do the right thing. But that's the reason why you have to take it baby steps at a time. And then you just make the neurological changes and reprogram yourself for positive change as you implement things step by step, gradually. And it becomes a part of your day-to-day life. But you've got to give yourself the opportunity, and the single fastest way possible on this planet, bar none, is through meditation and through the practices that I teach in meditation, because they're all designed to foster your connection and your relationship with self. And that's the reason why I do the free reclaiming sessions, because that's the first part of it. It's the first necessary step to laying that foundation and clearing out some of the cobwebs, so to speak, so that you can have the best chance when you start doing your meditations and interacting with your superconscious self and your higher self, your God self, your I am presence, your soul, your whatever name or terminology works for you based on your belief systems. But there is no greater work than you doing the work on yourself and you understanding everything that's going on within you and why, and then soliciting the help of your higher self, your superconscious self, to help you maneuver this life. Because who knows you better than your creator, than the source of who you are, the higher aspect of you? No one does. No one. And no one ever will. Ever. But at some point, you have to go within. At some point, you have to face yourself. At some point, you have to get honest. At some point, you have to let all that crap out. Because you know what happens when you let all the crap out, all the non-love out? What are you left with? Love. Your true self. That's why. That's why I'm so passionate about it. That's why all I talk about at the end of the day is connecting with self through unconditional love. And then you can reverse engineer your whole entire existence and move through things so super fast that you will literally be surprised at how miraculous your life will become, and how quickly, and how you will be untouchable to all the negative forces and things that are going on in your life. But it requires effort. It requires discipline, and in some cases it requires accessing some deep, deep, deep stuff, depending on you, right? Depending on what happened to you, what your life was like. But every single person on this planet has the same opportunity to realize who they truly are and who they were born to be, and to live from that highest possible state in this world, and literally attain and realize all of your dreams, the true dreams, the dreams that come from your soul, from your heart, from that place of passion and drive. It's cool stuff. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you for listening.